Don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our 2 newly released books, Football, a Love Story, and What Did Football Teach Me? These books feature over 100 stories from current and former coaches, players, executives, and entertainers from across the football landscape, describing what got them involved in the game, what they love about it, and what life lessons the game taught them. You can find your copy or order your copy from our website at footballgameplan.com/books.
Welcome to Football Game Plans Talking with TD. I'm your host, Teron Davenport.
Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Teron Davenport. Talking with TD, we're going to flip it over to the offensive side of things. We're going to bring in a quarterback. A lot of people don't really know about this prospect, but he's a guy that you need to know. And when you watch him, you really like his game. We're going to go to Dartmouth, and we're going to bring in quarterback Dalyn Williams. Dalyn, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
I'm doing really well. I definitely appreciate you coming on, cutting some time out of your day to talk some shop with us. And I just want to get right into it, man. Just looking at your game, I love the way you're able to create plays in the pocket, make plays outside of the pocket, throw the ball downfield. Let the people know a little bit about your game, what it is that you bring to the table.
Well, I think first and foremost that I'm a smart football player, so I understand the ins and outs of the game and how to attack the other defense and what they're doing to you kind of helps you to pinpoint their weaknesses. So I would say that. I would say I'm also a quarterback who can make all the throws, regardless of what throw it is. I feel I can get my repetition in with the receiver and I can, make the timely throws. And I also am very accurate when I make those throws. I also believe that I'm athletic enough to buy time and make plays down the field with my feet, which allows me to, extend plays and keep drives going. And then last but not least, I would say I'm a leader. I can get guys rallied around me to our chosen goal, and we can execute that. And I think that's, one of the bigger characteristics of the quarterback.
Just along the lines of that leadership part of things, Ivy League title at Dartmouth. It hasn't happened in quite a long time, but under your guidance it did. So that leadership is definitely a factor. I wanted to just talk about something else because, obviously you're not 6'5", you're not 6'6", so people are always going to have that knock about, he's too small as a quarterback. But when you're a quarterback that can find passing lanes, you can still get the ball off and not have to worry about it getting knocked down. Can you talk to that just briefly?
Well, I think, when you're behind the pocket, you're obviously, going through progressions. And when you're going through progressions and you're reading the defense, I think it's all, predicated on knowing what the other team is doing and knowing where you're going with the football and being able to, slide left, slide right, use a different arm angle. Those are just things that I had to learn and ultimately perfect as I got older and got prepared for this process. And I think it can be a problem if you don't work at it, most definitely. And I think, quarterbacks that work at it, at my height or even a little bit taller, they still, try to perfect it. I think it's just something I worked extremely hard at. And there's a lot of times where you have to anticipate throws. And that's my comment on any quarterback. If a guy's 6'5" and he's anticipating a comeback throw and the DB still, watching him, but the receiver's in and out of his break, it's the same thing. You're anticipating a throw that's not even there, and we have to do that constantly. And I think it's the same thing with a shorter quarterback. You just have to know, where you're going with the football and anticipate.
So many people, because of your game, compare you to Russell Wilson, and I see that comparison. Growing up, was there any particular player or team that you watched, and would you agree to that Russell Wilson comparison?
Growing up, I really idolized Michael Vick, and I only say that because Michael Vick was just a freak athlete, and he just ran around and made the game of football look extremely easy. So He always looked like he was playing in the backyard, not so much on the NFL field. But I wouldn't say it was anybody that I, took from their game and was like, okay, I want to be like this person. I just always admired guys for their play. And as I grew up and played the game of football and quarterback position, I just wanted to take the bits and pieces from every quarterback that was doing their job correctly. When I say that, I mean, checking it down, audibling, things that are correct in the proper way of playing the position. I just try to be myself. And Russell and I have similar statures. And we both can throw a football, we both can extend play. So I can see what people get comparison from. It doesn't really bother me if I'm compared to him or not, but I can understand it.
So just looking at the measurable side of things, I mean, it's something that people just get so enamored with. Okay, I want a quarterback that's 6'5". I want him that's 230 pounds and everything like that. How do you overcome that part of things? When somebody uses that to evaluate your game.
Well, I think that's a poor assessment of talent, to be honest with you. I think so much of this process is trying to have a guy with a certain size to project his ceiling, but all the time that's not necessarily everyone's ceiling. I can refer back to Tyrann Mathieu. This guy had a lot of off-field issues, but on the field you couldn't deny him. And when he got on the field, and what is he showing now is that regardless of my size, I'm a football player, and I'm always going to be a football player. I mean, you could say the same about Odell Beckham. He's a 5'11" outside receiver. Guys, he's torching people. If he was going through the process over again, they would say something. I'm sure they did say something about him being a 5'11" receiver and having maybe to work in the slot. But it all depends on that person and his determination, and all that does. The naysayers and the comparison of size, all it does is give me motivation. And that's more of a reason for me to be able to succeed and dig deep when times are tough.
As it should. And as far as your pro day is concerned, here it is at other quarterback pro days. They're doing it in ideal conditions, so they had to get a water bottle and squirt the football. Your pro day wasn't in the best of conditions, and it was really windy. How do you feel you were able to go out and prove your ability? How were you able to do that at your pro day in those conditions? Do you have a good feeling from what you put on display?
I think I did well. I think it was early. I asked why we were against the wind. I wasn't very happy about the conditions, but all in all, I knew I had to produce regardless. Don't complain about the externals. Just give me the results. So, after I threw my hitch to the left, I threw a slant to the right. It's a little behind my receiver, and I had to adjust to the wind. And after that, I was ready to rock. It was something I prepared for 4 months. I had no reason to back down from the moment. I'm sure all of us, you talk to all my other guys and all the other guys who participate, they were like, the field to be better. There to be no rain and no wind. But we just had to do what we could do in those situations. And I think there were 3, incomplete passes out of, around 60. And in my opinion, that's a good percentage, even if you're on there. And I was throwing to some guys I've never thrown before. So, all in all, I think I prepared well forward. I think I put on a good show.
What was some of the feedback that you were able to get from the personnel folks who were there to watch you?
I spoke to the Eagles immediately after. They were really impressed. The scout said he would be in touch and he really liked what I did. My QB coach was behind me, and he thought I did extremely well. And also, had my receivers coach, who I'm extremely close with, was right in front of me, helping me with the script that I had created and making sure I was on point. He said I did what I had to do. So, talking with other scouts, here and there, they were also impressed with my throwing. So, I think all in all, I'm pleased with the results. and what I put out there.
And it's interesting you mentioned the Eagles because their new coach, Doug Peterson, one of the things that he really focuses on in a quarterback is the mental side of it, the ability to get the team in and out of good situations, good and bad situations, that is, and just the ability to make checks at the line. Here it is, you're a 4-year starter, at Dartmouth. What was it that led you to Dartmouth? I mean, that's a school that's definitely challenging academically as well. So what was it that led you there?
I think my whole recruiting process was unique, as everyone else, but I think mine was predicated on being a receiver my sophomore year in order to get on the field, doing well, and a bunch of FBS schools wanted me to play receiver, but that's not what I wanted. So my junior year, played quarterback. I didn't do as well as I should have or thought I should have. And then guys, shied away from a 5'11" quarterback, 6-foot quarterback who didn't put up gaudy numbers. But then I came back to turn my senior and put up some really, really good numbers, and no one came late, that I wanted to. But Dartmouth had stuck with me my junior. They recruited me after my junior and told me, I could come there and help change the program. And even so, after my senior, they just stuck with me. There was someone who wanted me to win. I didn't produce as well as I should have, and Coach P really bought into me. And I couldn't ignore the academic prestige, because my mom and dad both preach academics to me growing up. And I think one of the main reasons I didn't choose to go to a bigger FCS or a small FBS school was the program prestige and the stability there. I didn't want to have to deal with the whole process of coaches coming in and out and the whole revolving door in collegiate sports. I wanted to be secure because I knew that would directly affect my performance. So looking back on it, I think I made a great decision, because even if this football career does not work for me, I think I'm going to have the degree and the connections to still be successful in life.
Yeah, I mean, balance is always important. So it's great you mentioned the prestige and the benefit of having a degree from Dartmouth. That's an excellent point. Just when you look at just getting back onto the football field, 56 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, the TD to interception ratio is there. I think you're one of the tops all time in that perspective. Is that correct?
As far as Dartmouth or?
Yeah, at Dartmouth.
Oh, I think, yeah. I'm second in touchdowns behind Jay Fiedler. And my touchdown-interception ratio is number 1.
There it is. So efficiency with the football, that's a major thing. How important is it for you as a quarterback to be efficient with the football and not turn it over? And what is it that allows you to be so effective from that side of things?
I think it's, going into the game, knowing what the defense is going to do, and preparing for all situations, so you're not surprised when something happens. I think picks happen. When you're surprised if something happens, you throw the football and someone's where you didn't think they were, or your timing with your receiver doesn't work out. And I just think we put a lot of time, into being in sync with the receivers. My OC did a good job of only bringing into the game plan on Saturdays plays that we did well in practice. And I also think that, I've learned to throw the football away. Coming in, it was extremely hard for me to grasp the idea that it's okay to throw the ball away on third down and punt the ball. It's okay to check the ball down and maybe not get the first down. But that just came with maturity. And I don't ever want to give the ball away to the defense, because in that way I'm hurting my team rather than helping it.
Excellent point. You mentioned earlier that you played some receiver in high school, but quarterback is the position that you wanted to play. What is it about being a quarterback that made you want to stick to that position? Because, I mean, so many times, especially quarterbacks that have athleticism that look like yourself, they always want to make them switch to a different position. And that is not the case with you as far as your conviction in staying as a quarterback. How is it? How were you able to do that?
I just think, I put good enough tape out there, to where guys say this guy can legitimately throw the football. I don't think anyone questions my intellect about the school I went to, and how I'm able to speak to them about the game of football. And just going off of your point of why I stuck to it, I mean, the quarterback position to me, I would say, I call it chess with people, with great athletes. And any sport you're playing that way, but I think, you're really doing that behind center. You have to be able to anticipate what guys are going to do. You have to prepare for their adjustments. But at the same time, you got to know what your guys are doing, and keep the morale of your team good to keep your team ready to score. I think it's challenging. I get extreme gratification from something that's challenging. I don't like anything to be easy. And I'm a big competitor, and I think that's, one of the more competitive spots because I think you have the ball every play. You directly impact your team's performance, and if you're not competitive, then you're not really helping your team. And it's extremely fun to me. I love the position. I love, throwing the ball and watching other people work after the catch. I just love everything about the position. It's a passion of mine, and it's hard to see myself not on the football field playing quarterback.
So that being said, the next level is there for you. It's something that is obviously going to be in your future. As a guy coming out of Dartmouth, I mean, they're going to say, hey, he didn't face the competition. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. There's always something. It seems like nowadays they try to find more of a reason why you can't do it as opposed to looking at why you can. So let's look at why you can. Why can you make that transition to the next level?
Well, I was saying this the other day. The whole reason I went to the All-Star game was to play, better competition, quote unquote. And what I put on tape was some very good throws, some timely throws, some good footwork under the center. And I think I answered some of those questions about level of competition. To me, it's all about individual people and their motivation to be great. And that's what I want to do. I want to be great. So me being put in a situation with better athletes is only going to raise my level of play. So making this jump is going to be tough, but I think I'm extremely competitive, like I said, and I've always been put in a situation to lead and produce and be that guy that teammates look to for, a two-out baseball hit to, put us in a lead, or, a third down pass to put us in the lead. I've always been put in that situation my whole life, and that's something I look forward to doing at the next level, and it's something I think I can, produce.
That's awesome, man. Dalyn, I appreciate you coming on. I don't know if you have social media or not, but if you do, go ahead and give the listeners a shout-out where they could follow you, what you're doing. You
said what I'm doing?
Yeah, as far as, the whole process. I mean, obviously the draft is next week, but, I mean, from then on, there's a lot going on for you.
Oh, yes, sir. Most definitely. Well, on Twitter, I'm Ivy League's finest. That's a small I, big V, and then leagues with a Z, and then finest. Just looks like a little catchy phrase I came up with and stuck with it because it kind of rolls off the tongue. And on IG, I am DWOP. That's DW0PP. It's a little phrase I coined that no one knows what it means, but it rolls off the tongue. It's fun. So those are my two social medias.
Folks, I'm Teron Davenport. That was Dalyn Williams. Dalyn, once again, I appreciate you coming on. I wish you the best, man. I really like your game, like I said. And talking to you, I like what you bring to the table, man. It's definitely a bright future for you. So thanks for coming on, and we'll be back in touch for sure.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
That wraps up this edition of Talking with TD. Be sure to check out all of my interview segments at footballgameplan.com/talkingwithtd. If you have any questions or people you want me to sit down with, hit me up on Twitter at @TDavenport_NFL.